fuck the shit out of those avocado rolls.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
And they deserve it.
When was the last time those avocado rolls got a single lick of action?
Exactly.
You know?
They've been neglected.
Exactly.
And I would be a gentle lover.
You would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is what I tell everybody about you. I'm like, Phoebe, hairstylist, gentle lover.
Gentle lover.
And my podcast host.
Exactly.
Those are the three.
Yeah.
Yeah, in order of what you do, yeah.
Gentle loving is for sure the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in order also.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
do someone's
do their hair, love them gently.
And then record the podcast.
I'm like, gotta go now.
I gotta
record my
record the
podcast. But you know that I love you still because of the gentleness that we just had.
Exactly, yeah.
What's
it's like
happening on this
I
podcast?
don't know. Moonshine's here.
Hi.
Moonshine has opinions.
She does. She has a lot to say. I'm Phoebe.
I am Taylor.
This is our podcast remarks.
Remarks. This is a Art of the Revolution episode.
This is
baby.
a silly episode so far.
It's gonna be silly for sure.
Can't wait. We're finally not like so fucking bummed the fuck out, I think is really what
True.
it is.
Yeah, it's actually I don't know if uplifting is the right word, but it's a little bit more of like a goofy, silly guy kind of episode.
A little lighter, a little less heart-wrenching.
Exactly. What do you want to go first?
I feel like I'll go first because you've been first for the last few, just because
been going first a lot.
Has made sense chronologically. But yeah, I'll jump into it.
Yeah, do your thing.
All right. Well, as we discussed at length last week, the Vietnam War caused an intense amount of suffering. The people of both North and South Vietnam, the American soldiers who deeply regretted their participation in the war, and civilians of not only Vietnam and America, but many other countries around the world experienced a lot of suffering due to the Vietnam War as well. A lot of artists were inspired by the destruction and strife that the Vietnam War had caused, and one artist in particular was bearing the weight of the Vietnam War and the American Civil Rights Movement. Our boy, Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye.
Love him. He wrote the album What's Going On based on his brother Frankie's experience as a soldier in the Vietnam War, and as well as his own experience grappling with depression caused by the constant turmoil in the United States and loss in his personal life. At the time What's Going On was being written, his marriage to Anna Gordy, who was the sister of the founder of Motown Records, which is who he was recording with pretty much throughout his entire career. And he was really, like, before he made this album, he was making, like, kind of, like, R&B and more, like, love ballad type music. What's going on? Or not What's Going On. What's the Let's Get It On?
Let's Get It On,
that kind of thing. So his marriage to Anna Gordy, who was the sister of the founder of Motown Records, that marriage was falling apart and coming to an end. He was in the midst of that. And his close friend Tammy Terrell, who he recorded Ain't No Mountain High Enough with, had died of brain cancer at just 24, which is insane.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So
I'm older than that right now.
I know.
As we speak.
We outlived Tammy Terrell. So yeah, Martin was fucking going through it. And then he also just was constantly plagued by these depressing headlines and especially affected by the Kent State shooting when 4 college students had been shot and killed by members of the National Guard. And about that, he said, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop crying. And so Obie Benson from the group The Four Tops and Al Cleveland, who was a member of Motown, wrote the outline for the song What's Going On. And after having it rejected by several other musicians, they presented it to Marvin. And then he took the song and made it his own, and that kicked off the rest of his album. Honestly, like the entire, starting with the record What's Going On, and then the entire album almost did not get made because Motown Records was like, nobody's going to fucking like this at all. Like, it's
garbage.
Depressing and it's not fun R&B. This is not anything you've ever done. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But he just kept pushing for it. And then What's Going On was like huge, that song in particular. And then obviously the album now has a huge legacy. So fuck you, Motown Records. Just kidding.
How does it feel to be wrong, Motown Records? So sit there in your wrongness. Yeah.
So, Marvin's brother Frankie had been stationed in Vietnam as a radio operator and had witnessed the many horrors of Vietnam. Before Frankie had left for Vietnam, him and Marvin had had a very complicated relationship, but when he returned, they reconnected over the emotions that they were both having over the state of the world. And Frankie said about the Vietnam War and his relationship with Marvin, quote, "The death and destruction I saw in Vietnam sickened me. The war seemed useless, wrong, and unjust. I relayed this all to Marvin and forgave him for never writing to me while I was over there. That had hurt because he was a big star and none of my buddies believed he was my brother. Wait, I told them, he's going to write me back and prove it to you. He never did." So they had a very tumultuous relationship before he had left. And also, I mean, Marvin Gaye was pretty deep into drugs. He was dealing with his own depression, his wife, his friend dying. So, I mean...
There's a lot of things going on.
And he's admitted it himself. He feels very bad for what happened. But there's an uplifting part that comes later.
Old Franklin Gaye.
Franklin Gaye. So the very first song on the album, What's Going On, the titular song, begins with the sounds of a party and people catching up. The scene is a Vietnam veteran returning home and being welcomed home by his friends and family. I'm going to share most of this song because it really is a great encapsulation of what this album is about. So I'm just going to go through some of the lines, and then if some need like a little definition about what they're saying, I'll do that. So he says, "Mother, mother, there's far too many of you crying. Brother, brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know, we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today." Obviously talking about the men who have gone off to war, dying in war, and mom's being sad about it. He says, "Father, father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. We've got to find a way to bring some love in here today." And now comes my favorite line in the song. "Picket lines and picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on." Obviously talking about, at the time, it was really hard to find a job. A lot of people struggling, a lot of companies going on strike for being mistreated workers, as well as obviously the civil rights movement tongue-tied. Civil rights movement going on, and then the anti-war movement going on. So all of the
lots of protests,
picket signs everywhere. Yeah. And then referencing, police brutality. Of course, there was something that had happened in, Oakland where like these 4 black boys had been like brutally beat by the police, which was where that line had really come from. And then of course that was happening all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, "Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong. Oh, but who are they to judge us simply because our hair is long?" Which is a reference to like the hippie movement at the time and the way that like the older generation was like, these crazy kids. Which is funny because I feel like we're kind of going through something very similar now.
I think it happens with like most generations, to be honest. Like,
it's true. He goes on to say, "We've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Picket lines and picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Come on, talk to me so you can see what's going on." So yeah, I mean, just that obviously is the name of the album. It's a very succinct idea of what the entire album's about. These men returning home from Vietnam being like, literally, what the fuck? I just like risked my life at this pointless war, and then I come home and like my country is basically at war as well. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And I know like, cause like even because Lizzie B. Jizzler's our fucking boy. Yeah. Like, again, as, I mean, and kind of Richard Nixon too, but like, especially Lyndon B. Johnson and JFK had like such big plans for like domestic bills and stuff to get through, and they just got like sucked into the Vietnam War.
Exactly.
And then never got to like actually do any of the shit they wanted to.
Yeah. Which I'm gonna go through the Nina Simone song that I was talking about last week, and I think there's a bit as well in one of the songs from this album that basically talks about that. Like, it talks about like programs and money and things like that were gonna go to citizens, but then everything just turned and went to the Vietnam War, and many people were like very neglected because of that.
Over it.
The next song on the album was written for Marvin's brother Frankie. He wrote it directly from Frankie's perspective. And when Frankie first heard the song, he was moved to tears and said that it was, quote, "so personal and heartfelt." And so here's a few quotes from the song. "War is hell. When will it end? When will people start getting together again? Are things really getting better like the newspaper said? What else is new, my friend? Besides what I read. Can't find no work, can't find no job, my friend. Money is tighter than it's ever been. And tell me, friend, how in the world have you been? Tell me what's out, and I want to know what's in. What's the deal, man? What's happening? What's happening, brother? What's been shaking up and down the line? I want to know because I'm slightly behind the times." So, he says, are things really getting better like the newspaper said? The news at the time, I think, was not really reflecting the truth of what people were feeling. He talks about not being able to find a job. Money's tighter than it's ever been, especially for people returning home, like veterans returning home. It was extremely difficult for them to find any work at all. And then I just love the part where he says, what's been shaking up and down the line? I want to know because I'm slightly behind the times. Because while all of those, people were off fighting in the Vietnam War, they have no idea what's been going on
happening
back home.
True. Well, and then also like the U.S. government and like the military leaders over in Vietnam were just lying about how well the war was going.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like they really weren't winning the war, but everybody was like, "Nah, dog, we fucking got it." And the soldiers were like, "Are you sure?" I don't know, dog.
Based on every experience I've had, it feels like we're not.
Feels kind of bad, kind of not good, as the kids say.
Good. Yeah, so this song obviously describes Frankie returning back home after fighting in the Vietnam War and wanting to reconnect with the people in his life from home. He's been out of touch with what's been happening in America and is very saddened and confused by the fighting he's seeing in his own home country. Moving on to another song from the album. It's called Save the Children, and it discusses how America following the Vietnam War seems very helpless. The young people who had been involved with anti-war protests now were just kind of left wondering, like, what was going to come next and what's kind of their purpose now. Meanwhile, the older generation of the time was just tired and disillusioned by the war and by the country, but also at the same time were very disillusioned by these young people protesting and being very against everything. And so it was just like a really hopeless time in general. And so he asks, the first line of the song, he asks, I just want to ask a question. Who really cares to save a world in despair? Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Impactful.
Truly. The album What's Going On covered the Vietnam War, but it also spoke about the other horrors that he was seeing in America. The treatment of black people, the poverty, the struggle to work, and the destruction that the war and modern industry had caused to America's environment. And in this song called Mercy, Mercy Me, parentheses, the ecology, Marvin talks about what he is seeing happen to the environment around him. And it goes like this. Mercy, mercy me, things ain't what they used to be. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is in the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Mercy, mercy me, things ain't what they used to be. Oil wasted on the ocean and upon our seas, fish full of mercury. Mercy, mercy me, things ain't what they used to be. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby are dying. Mercy, mercy me, things ain't what they used to be. What about this overcrowded land? How much more abuse from man can she stand?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we figured that out in the 70s and that
For sure.
the environment's pretty chill now, right?
We're like,
yeah,
got it on lock.
We're not facing a climate apocalypse.
Not at all. Yeah,
that would be bad.
The Genius, like I looked up the lyrics on Genius and it has like annotations or whatever, and the little like thing at the bottom, they were like, I wonder how Marvin would feel now knowing what the environment's like. I'm like, probably he would feel shitty.
He probably wouldn't be stoked, like
not juiced.
Yeah. Anti-juiced, actually, the opposite. I don't know.
He'd be
the opposite of juice?
Coffee.
Yeah.
Dry.
He'd be dry about it for sure.
And I don't know if this line is a direct reference to Agent Orange. The poison is in the wind that blows from the north and south and east. I don't know, but I felt like that reminded me.
It very well could be. It also could just be about the pollution, I suppose. Yeah,
for sure.
Because that is also poison that blows everywhere.
It is. It really is.
Crazy.
I wonder why so many people have asthma these days.
True. Or so many people die from fucking cancer, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I think I read, like, a study that was, like, more people have cancer now than there were in, like, the 50s. And it's like, well, yeah, we live in a fucking ball of dirt. Like,
exactly.
A cloudy, smoggy fucking orb in the middle of space. Like
the air that we breathe every day. There's like that thing where they'll do comparisons, and it's like, oh, breathing the air in Salt Lake City today is like smoking 10 cigarettes in a row. And I'm like, awesome, bring it on.
Let's do it.
Have no choice but to breathe this air. So
I mean, I could smoke 10 cigarettes in a row easy. So like the air ain't got nothing on these fucking lungs of steel.
I think I'm gonna start actually smoking cigarettes way more so that I can breathe the pollution air.
I'm pretty sure that's
easier.
how it works. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, for sure.
it's like exposing your immune system to things,
Exactly.
but with your lungs. It's just like marathon training your lungs.
You got to start them young. That's why you always give like babies cigarettes.
Yeah,
like, you absolutely.
Macanudos.
So my friend Sam has an old like 1983 Mercedes Benz, like a car, and in the back seats there's like ashtrays because everybody smoked cigarettes back then.
For sure.
The kids,
everyone,
give them.
every member of the family.
Every member of the family, yeah. Start them when they're newborns. Get it? Like I'm sure there were some kids and they're like, oh, you don't have a binky? Give him a cigarette.
Give him a cigarette. He'll stop crying immediately. The baby's like, man, I'm relaxed.
Exactly.
You know what, Mom? Don't worry about my diaper.
He's just like is in like a instantly transported to like a smoky dive bar, and he's like, I haven't heard that name in years. Pull-ups, don't know him. Yeah.
Daycare, never been.
Oh, it's too good. Okay. Enough of smoke. If you can draw, please draw fan art of a smoking baby for us.
Please, like sitting in like an old dive bar, like
Yes.
like regretting his life choices. His wife left him, and he's just like, God damn it.
We'll make a sticker out of it for you.
Yes, we really will. We really will. You know what else smokes?
Probably. I don't
Me
know.
asking Taylor, should we take an ad break now?
Me? No, I actually don't smoke anymore. I used to.
Oh, well.
But the ads probably do smoke.
They do. They're
'Cause
fucking
they're
lighting them
so
up.
fucking fire.
Cool.
Am I right? Ladies?
Ladies.
Ladies?
Ads.
We're back, and we're talking. I mean, well, we were talking about cum, but also veganism. Sorry.
My favorite thing is pretty much every single time we come back from an ad break, we're like, we were just talking about fisting. Like,
yeah, just like the weirdest thing. It wasn't, I mean, it was kind of weird, I guess. We're talking about, like, I guess there's a vegan Facebook page that Phoebe used to be on, and someone asked if cum was vegan.
Yeah.
And, like...
It's like...
I mean,
guess.
it's probably not... You don't have to think about it that hard.
Yeah, like, I think it's okay.
It's chill, like...
Just live your life.
It's all right. No one's gonna... We're not gonna call the vegan police on you.
Exactly. Fucking vegan SWAT at your door. Are you swallowing your boyfriend's cum?
Yeah, honestly.
Somebody take that soundbite.
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna like isolate that and just like go crazy with it.
We're normal.
It's for when you get canceled again. I'm gonna add that to the conversation and like take it out of context.
Yes.
So, like
yes.
Phoebe pounds on people's doors for swallowing.
No swallowing. Okay.
We're strictly anti-swallow
Absolutely.
here at What Remarks. Yeah.
Absolutely. Swallowers, get out.
Spit it out and then get out.
What is happening this episode?
Well, we're wild. Yeah, we're wilding out, y'all. I'm sorry. We
had a like crazy weekend.
It was a wild weekend.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Happy birthday to our fucking boy.
My boyfriend, Justin.
We love him. All right, well, Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye. Marv Skis.
Marv Skis. Mizzy Glizzlers. We're literally sober also, you guys.
Yeah, I have not been drinking.
Wow.
High on life.
High on life. Very. So, the last song on the album is called Inner City Blues, and then in parentheses, Make Me Wanna Holler. outlines the plight of those living in underfunded cities and how the government specifically marginalizes them, specifically the black population, and how many of the young men living in these underfunded cities were tricked into going off to the Vietnam War. Much like how the military still manipulates people from poor cities into joining the military.
True.
Crazy how that happens and nothing ever changes.
Yeah. I was, because just knowing that you were doing this anti-war propaganda episode or whatever, it always makes me think of the song BYOB by System of a Down, just because there's a line in there, because it was about like Desert Storm, so a little bit of a different era, but one of the lines is, why do they always send the poor to like fight their wars or whatever? Yeah,
like literally though.
Yeah, that always makes me think of that, because fuck it, why do leaders start wars and then make us fight them? It's stupid. It's the thesis statement of my last album, pretty much.
Genuinely though, it's insane. Like, I have fucking nothing to do with this, bro. And then especially when you add the draft into that, it's like,
yeah, it's like, I didn't even sign up for this shit.
I don't give a fuck what your beef is with Vietnam.
Yeah, like, fuck.
I'm just trying to live my life.
Truly.
Yeah. Also, another great kind of anti-war song. It's a cover, but Phoebe Bridgers just did a cover of this song that's like very anti-war and like soldier being in the war and just being like, the fuck.
The fuck is going on? I mean, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I can't, obviously you can't speak for like every soldier that's ever existed, but I feel like you hear a lot of stories about like soldiers that are like, yeah, I didn't really give a fuck about the conflict that I was in. Like, I was fighting for like myself and the like people I was there with.
Exactly.
Like, I wasn't fighting for a country, because when it comes down to it, it's like, I didn't start this war. This isn't I'm just here. Like,
exactly.
Even in like Desert Storm and ones where there wasn't a draft, it's like people didn't necessarily sign up to go to that specific place. They were told to. You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. That is true, and an interesting thing to bring up is like the different places that people get stationed. It's like you don't get to choose like what part of the war you're going to be involved in, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue what's going on. Like, shit's fucked up over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
So the song Inner City Blues goes like this. But this is some of the lines, not the whole thing. Rockets, moonshots, spend it on the have-nots. Money we make it, for we see it, you take it. Obviously about like spending money on these military things, spending money on shit the fucking government doesn't need to be doing. And he's asking, like, why don't you spend it on these people that need help in your own country?
Yeah.
He says, inflation, no chance to increase finance. Bills pile up sky high. Send that boy off to die. Oh, make me want to holler. Obviously what we were just talking about, like, these families with fucking bills they can't pay, dying in their own country. And it's like, now go die for our country that's screwing you over in fucking Vietnam. He says, hang-ups, letdowns, bad breaks, setbacks. Natural fact is, oh, honey, that I can't pay my taxes.
Ow, ow, ow.
Ow, ow,
Marvin.
Oh, crime is increasing. Trigger-happy policing. Panic is spreading. God knows where we're heading. Oh, make me want to holler. They don't understand. Again, another, like, reference to police brutality, a line that is very relevant still to this day, which
unfortunately
is great. Yeah. And then at the end of the song, he repeats a sentiment from the very first song of the album to close it all up and connect the message of the album. He says, Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong. Who are they to judge us simply because we wear our hair long? So he brings it back to the first song, What's Going On. This album flows together beautifully. There's a common melodic thread throughout the entire thing, and the songs kind of blend from one to the next. It takes you on the journey of the struggles in America at the time pertaining to the war and the struggle that the Vietnam vets were having trying to reintegrate back into society when they came home. It speaks on Marvin's own personal drug use that he was using to cope with the depressing states of things, which I didn't really add any of those songs in here today because I was obviously trying to do ones that were relevant to the Vietnam War. But yeah, he has a lot of songs talking about like his own struggles there. It outlines the struggles of Black Americans who were being brutalized by the police, struggling financially, and then being sent off to fight for a country they truly should have no allegiance to, because the country's also trying to fucking kill them. So,
yeah,
you know, it's like...
It's all good stuff. I mean, yeah, like the whole idea of just allegiance to anything is, I don't know, not what I'm about.
yeah.
It's
fucked up. I mean, I got into a conversation... with Justin, actually, the other day about, like, how fucking weird and creepy and, like, brainwashing that saying the Pledge of Allegiance is.
Yeah.
Allegiance. Pledging your allegiance.
You're pledging your allegiance, yeah.
From, like, first grade.
Yeah, and
what the
before
fuck?
you even know what it means,
yeah,
right? Like,
literally.
And even then, like, I feel like it just becomes a thing where you say it, and
yeah.
they're just like, oh,
you're not,
yeah.
like, consciously aware of what it means.
Because I stopped saying the Pledge of Allegiance, I think, when I was in... like I was a junior in high school. I just would like stand, but I wouldn't like say it or put my hand over my heart or anything.
Yeah.
Because again, I was like, fuck this. I don't like this country. Yeah. I don't want to. And again, I've even before I was like a full blown anarchist, like I had weird feelings about like authority of any
For
kind.
sure.
So
yeah.
I was like, I don't want to pledge allegiance to anything.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid. Like I don't know. I guess like I only pledge my allegiance, quote unquote, to like things that I believe in. I don't know.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, I feel like this country is so like what you're pledging your allegiance to is so subject to change and so subject to like do whatever they fucking want.
Yeah.
So you're just like blindly being like, here's my full devotion to you, America.
No matter what you do ever.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
It's bullshit.
Okay, so the last song I'm going to go through quickly is Backlash Blues by Nina Simone. I mentioned this one last episode. I feel like this song complements a lot of Marvin's sentiment, but it's from a Black woman's point of view. So she says, Mr. Backlash, just who do you think I am? You raise my taxes, freeze my wages, and send my son to Vietnam? You give me second-class houses and second-class schools. Do you think that all colored folks are just second-class fools? Oh, Mr. Backlash, I'm going to leave you with the backlash blues. When I try to find a job to earn a little cash, all you got to offer is your mean old white backlash. But the world is big and bright and round, and it's full of folks like me, who are black, yellow, beige, and brown. Mr. Backlash, I'm going to leave you with the backlash blues. Mr. Backlash, just what do you think I got to lose? I'm going to leave you with the backlash blues. You're the one who'll have the blues. Not me, just wait and see. Which,
damn, yeah, she kind of went off.
Oh my god, it's so good.
The attitude, honestly.
I know. So obviously she's talking about what we've been saying this whole time, like the taxes, not being able to pay your taxes, the wage theft, the fucking like underfunded cities with shit houses and second class schools. And she's like, do you think that all of us, black people are idiots? We don't realize what you're doing to us. And she's like, and then she says, when I try to find a job to earn a little cash, all I get is your mean old white backlash. Like, all you get is folks being racist towards you and segregation and all this shit. Like, when you try to play their game.
Well, and you think, like, yeah, like, I don't know. It makes me think of, like, the Black Panthers and how they were like, hey, so y'all hate us. So we're going to, like, do our own thing. Like, we're going to have community programs for, like, kids in schools to get them breakfast and lunch and, like, have like mutual aid and all this stuff and, have our own weapons and things to defend ourselves. And once they started like doing their own thing, the government was like, nah, you can't do that. And it's like, what do you, it just like exposes how fucking evil the government actually is. Cause it's like they try, if they even try to like do something on their own or make their own community,
like support their own community.
Yeah, they fuck them over then too.
Exactly. It's just puts like a glaring light on the fact that it's like this isn't just negligence on the part of the government, it's like systematic oppression.
Exactly.
Like look at what's the name of the city? Seneca Village and in Tulsa, like literally thriving black cities that the black community had created themselves, where it was like, oh, okay, you're fucking us over, we're gonna create our own community to support ourselves, and the American government bombed them. So
Yeah, exactly. It's systematic oppression. It's like, I don't know. I feel like they paint it like it was negligence, or that like it's painted like, oh yeah, they were just, like, yeah, segregation was bad, but that's all it was. And it's like, no, they were actively oppressing these people.
Exactly.
Like, they were being harmful to them. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. And I love at the end here where she's like, what do you think I have to lose? Well, she's like, this world that's so big, it's full of folks like me. And then she goes, what do you think I've got to lose? You're going to be the one who has the backlash blues, which it's such amazing line. But, she's talking about like, there's a lot of other people that feel exactly like she does, who are aware of the like oppression that they're experiencing that's specifically targeting them. And it's like, I have nothing left to lose, so I have everything to gain.
Exactly.
So
it's easy to fight from the bottom up.
Exactly. Yeah. Fucking good shit, Nina. Also, listen to
shit.
more Nina Simone. She's amazing.
Yeah, listen to all the things.
Yes.
All of the songs Phoebe's talking about.
Yeah, and be sure, listen to the whole What's Going On album all the way through. It's actually not a very long album, and it is just, it's so good. It's so good. And very jazzy.
Very jazzy, really good.
Jazzy.
Jazzy.
So there you go. That's my piece for today.
Beautiful. Absolutely marvelous, per usual, Phoebe. Yeah, listen to all those artists, because really good stuff. And I feel like I don't want to say there's like necessarily a lack, but they just don't make political music like they used to.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just me being a geezer, but...
A geezer.
But yeah. So I'm going to jump in and start my little portion of the episode, if I was French. What was it? We were doing something yesterday, and I was like, do y'all think that we like need France?
Oh, we were talking about après ski.
Yeah. Because we went tubing yesterday. And we were talking about après ski. And I was like, do we need France? Like, can we just take the baguettes and go? Like,
society has progressed past the point for the French.
Yeah, I like the need for France. We'll take the Eiffel Tower too, I guess. Yeah. It's nice. It's something to look at.
I want all the art.
Yeah, good art.
Make it, I don't know, accessible for everybody to see.
Truly, yeah. Honestly, yeah, putting art behind like a pay barrier is stupid.
It's some bullshit.
What's that like? That Joni Mitchell song? It's the one that Counting Crows did a cover of, Big Yellow Taxi.
Yes.
Where it's like, there's a line in it where it's like, took all the trees and put them in a tree museum and charged the people $1 an hour just to see them.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Go off, Joni.
Talking about, Joni Mitchell. A classic. Anyway.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be discussing Cold War propaganda, specifically American Cold War propaganda.
Can't wait.
This spans a little bit of a time frame. But propaganda during the Cold War reached its peak around the 1950s and 60s. So obviously that was kind of when JFK and Lizzie B. Jizzlers were all doing their shit.
Jizzy Fizzy Clisley and exactly. Lizzie B. Jizzlers.
The big names.
Everybody's favorite.
Everybody's faves.
All stars.
An early piece of Cold War propaganda was an American short film titled Make Mine Freedom, discussing the advantages of those who live in a capitalist society. This was released in 1948. The following year, another short film titled Meet King Joe was released, and it was actually aimed at workers, basically kind of telling them to like be complacent, be like, oh, isn't it great that you have a job and you're so lucky to have a job. You should not want to have more money, because think of all the look at what you already have. Like, just, trying to tell them not to agitate for better working rights.
Yeah. It's greedy of you to not have to work
exactly
10 hours a day.
You want to do something you like. Well, just be happy that you have a job. Like, and I think, it's really interesting. I kind of just made this connection in my brain, but I think that we're seeing a lot of that coming out of the pandemic too.
So much.
Like, I've had people tell me at my job, like, oh, I'm glad you still have a job.
Exactly.
Like, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like, having a job is fine, but like, people still need to, like, you should still want to be treated better at your job if they're treating you shitty. Like,
and like, that shouldn't be the baseline, especially like going through what we've gone through last year and continuing into this year. It's like, the baseline shouldn't be like, glad I still have a fucking job that sucks. Like,
exactly.
It should be like, no, glad our government fucking got their shit together to protect us from this fucking thing, which they didn't.
Yeah, so it's just, interesting.
Yeah.
Moving into the 1950s, the actual government actually didn't have to create much propaganda because they would rely on other media outlets to do propaganda for them. Phoebe, have you ever heard of a little thing called the Hays Code?
No.
All right. The Hays Code, it was named after... let me find the guy's name. It was named after the person who, like, set it up. It was also known as, like, the Motion Picture Production Code. It was basically, like, a set of rules that you had to follow, like, enforced rules that Hollywood, like, put on itself.
Okay.
So, like, and a lot of directors were really over the Hays Code. But yeah, so it lasted until about 1968 or so. And it included, so these were things that were not allowed to be shown on screen.
Okay.
Pointed profanity, any licentious or suggestive nudity, the illegal traffic in drugs, any inference of sex perversion, white slavery, miscegenation, so I believe that's interracial marriage.
Oh, okay.
I believe is what that is referring to. Sex hygiene and venereal disease.
What?
Scenes of actual childbirth. Children's sex organs, which, okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, we should keep that one. Ridicule of the clergy.
Is this fucking printing press man times? Like, the hell?
Yeah. Willful offense to any nation, race, or creed, which would also, like, include America.
Right. Like, I feel like we know what that one was for, really.
These were ones that were, like, you're supposed to be careful. So it's like you could do these, but you had to be, like, you're on thin ice, right? Like, so the use of the flag, international relations, arson, the use of firearms, theft or robbery, brutality and possible gruesomeness, technique of committing murder by whatever method, methods of smuggling, third-degree methods, not sure what that means, actual hangings or electrocutions, sympathy for criminals, attitude towards public characters and institutions, sedition? I'm not sure about that one. I'll have to look it up. Apparent cruelty to children and animals, branding of people or animals, the sale of women or of a woman selling her virtue, which is a funny way to say that, I guess.
Yeah.
Rape or attempted rape, first night scenes, or I think like one night stands. Man and woman in bed together.
Oh, yeah. That was a big one.
Deliberate seduction of girls, the institution of marriage.
What?
I guess, I don't know. Surgical operations, the use of drugs, titles or scenes having to do with law enforcement, and excessive or lustful kissing, particularly when one character or the other is a heavy, in air quotes, which heavy, so on this Wikipedia article that lists it, heavy is like highlighted, so I clicked on it and it took it to like the page for criminals. So I think heavy means like they were a criminal of some kind.
Interesting.
So yeah, a lot of...
How are you going to make a movie at all?
That's all the good things to watch. Yeah.
It's my favorite kind of movies. People lustfully kissing and trying to seduce women.
Exactly. We should make a movie with all of those things.
Yes, let's do it. That's only all of that.
Only that, yeah. But yeah, so interestingly enough, this is kind of a side tidbit, but that's where, like, obviously sexual perversion homosexuality was included in that. And that's where queer coding comes from. Is you couldn't outright say that a character was gay, but you could imply that they were gay, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's the Hays Code.
Stupid.
The Hays Code was only one part, though. The Red Scare, as well as the governmental pressure, pushed creators to portray communism in an unfavorable light to children and adults alike.
Yeah.
In 1962, the film Red Nightmare released to originally... It was actually released originally for to train armed forces, but then was released to the public.
Oh, Jesus.
And by train armed forces, it was like brainwash the armed forces.
Yeah. Of course.
Red Nightmare alleges that the Soviet Union was recreating American cities to train spies to sabotage America. So they were like building replicas of American cities and having like people live there so that they would know like what it's like, I guess, like our culture. I don't know. And then the rest of the story is about a man who falls asleep one night and has a red nightmare where he wakes up and is living his life in the Soviet Union. And
my God.
Everything goes wrong and his rights are taken away. And,
communism.
Communism. Yeah, exactly. Pretty wild shit. A comic book called The Godless Communists began running in the Treasure Chest comic book in 1961. Also, kind of a sick band name.
Yeah.
You want to start a band called The Godless Communists?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Which, I mean, they're not wrong, right? Because communism was very anti-religion,
very
or at least in
atheist,
Marx's, theories.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that, and again, kind of communism and leftism in general, it's like you can have religion, but you don't want, hierarchies of religion,
totally,
right? Like, a person can, personally practice whatever they want, but,
But that shouldn't be influencing, what decisions are being made for the public.
Mm-hmm. But there is a big conversation to be had about, how religion makes it so that you don't want to change your, material situation here. Like, it oppresses, workers and things like that. So, but, again, it's kind of hard to say, oh, you can't practice religion, you know? If somebody wants to believe, they can believe whatever they want, right? But, yeah. The comic was basically the same as the Red Nightmare, where America is taken over and renamed the United Soviet States of America, and everyone's rights are abolished.
Of course, because that's how it works.
Exactly.
That's what communism is. Nobody has rights.
No one has any rights, and all of your things get stolen.
Right. No,
instantly.
exactly. Yeah. Immediately.
The minute you buy something, it's just taken right away.
Taken out of your hand. Snatched.
Swiper, no swiping. You ever try that?
Dora was an anti-communist.
Yeah, she was.
It's literally the second you leave the fucking grocery store, some guy just out there mauls you and takes your fucking groceries, and you're like, communism.
You're like,
what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do about that dang communism? You know what won't steal your products when you walk out of a grocery store at 3 a.m. on a Saturday 3 a.m. on a Saturday morning because your sleep schedule is messed up and you go grocery shopping really late at night and you hate yourself for it, and the workers all think that you're insane because you're the only one in the store shopping at 3 a.m.
And you're probably talking to yourself.
You're probably talking to yourself like I am right now, going over the scenario in my head.
Is it Anchor?
It is actually.
Oh my God,
Anchor. Yeah,
crazy.
You guessed perfect. That was amazing.
Yeah, that is that's their guarantee. That's their whole tagline, and it's kind of long. But they say what they're about up front.
They like it, And who am I to judge a company?
Yeah, podcast distribution.
Exactly, under this free market capitalism, they can do whatever they want.
I would never do such a thing.
I would never wish the downfall of free market capitalism. On this show? Absolutely not.
This me? Absolutely not.
This me? This dimension? No.
Anyway. Ads.
All right. All right, we're back. How you doing, Phoebe?
Oh, I'm so solid. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. How's I don't know, life? How are things?
They're good.
The audience is curious.
The audience is curious. Well, I'm good. We're busy, but
Yeah.
doing well.
Yeah. I must say I very much like your braids.
Thank
Very
you.
cute.
Thank you. My hair's a little dirty today, so I put it in little braids.
Couldn't even tell. Wouldn't even know.
Thank you.
Anyway, getting back into Cold War propaganda.
Taylor's hair also looks nice.
Thank you. In the 1950s, old friend of the pod, the CIA,
Love them.
commissioned an animated version of George Orwell's Animal Farm be released to warn the public of the dangers of communism. Which is a whole discussion, of
classic.
course, about whether that's really about communism or like authoritarianism and like fascism. You know, it's a big thing. Anyway, Hollywood, in an attempt to seem loyal and patriotic, made a multitude of pro-America films in the wake of the blacklistings. A few examples being Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Blob, Big Jim McClane, and The Third Man. Going into some of those, the first two movies being examples of shadowy alien forces attempting to control the minds of the good and upstanding Christian citizens. Because, you know, that was the whole communist shtick, right? Is like they're trying to take you over and make you hate God, you know? Again, the godless communists. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do.
That is the future that I specifically. I can't speak for the whole left, but that is what I want.
Yeah, me personally.
Yeah, I want you to never think for yourself ever again. Actually. Yeah. Actually, I want to be the dictator of America.
Yeah.
So if y'all can make that happen, please.
Quickly. With haste.
With haste. Big Jim McClane stars John Wayne.
Big Jim McClane.
That's the name of the movie.
I believe you.
But it is a funny name.
It sounds made up.
It does
sound
sound made
like
up.
I don't know, like some dumb thing in like a show.
True. Big Jim
Big
McClane.
John McClane.
Yeah. Stars John Wayne as a HUAC investigator. House Un-American Activities.
That's right.
Who stamps out communist activity in Hawaii, which I don't know too much history in that area. Maybe there was like a big communist presence in Hawaii. Not sure.
Seems like okay.
Yeah. Side note, John Wayne is actually a giant piece of shit. Just thought I'd throw that out there. John Wayne, super racist.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people at that time were, but...
Yeah, but like, yeah.
He was like racist with a platform, you know?
Yeah, and that's, you know...
In an age when not everyone had a platform.
Right.
The Third Man, was a British film involving Soviet and Western espionage, which was also a common premise at the time. Capitalist spies were always the good guys, though.
Of course.
This fed directly into James Bond and the romanticization. Did I say that word?
I would say yes.
All right. You know what I'm trying to say.
I do.
Of the spy fighting for freedom throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Television, on the other hand, was much newer than film, so the propaganda tended to be more subtle, although many shows depicted the traditional religious American values heavily and emphasized the importance of education, work, obedience, and the prosperity enjoyed by Americans. So, like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because, you know, you have, like, because I even think of, like, I Love Lucy and, you know, shows like that where it's, like, you get off of work and you go home to your wife who's happily cooking and things like that, you know. Just that whole idea, because the propaganda wasn't necessarily always aimed at, like, making the Soviet Union look bad.
Right.
But, or, like, you know, being like, the Soviet Union does this, but it also being like, isn't your life so great here?
Yeah.
Do you want something to change? Like, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting, like, the way, because, you know, they just programmed you to think that anything that wasn't American was bad.
Exactly.
Just kind of what they still do in a way.
Yeah,
but.
it's true. And it's like keeps people in that like ideal sort of family life for capitalism. You know, the wife staying home and the cooking, the husband going out and working fucking a long ass time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it pushed people to like live their life by example, of course, which is what everybody does, and that was the example. So it's like, oh shit, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do.
I guess that's what we have to do.
And like Lucy seems so thrilled.
Yeah, well, and I think it's funny too because like, you know, it was like this big thing, like, women having jobs and whatnot, like, obviously during, like, the war, like, World War II, like, women had to take a lot of industrial jobs and things like that. And I think once, like, businesses realized they could also exploit women workers, they were like, yeah, women can have jobs. Like, because, like, now, it's not uncommon for, an entire family, the husband and wife, or however it's set up, to have both of them have jobs,
For
right?
sure,
like,
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it'd be nice if one parent could stay at home with the kids.
Exactly.
Like, that doesn't happen, like, often.
Because they were like, oh, wait, we can exploit more people? Let's raise the prices of everything.
Yeah. And we can just pay women less.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win for everybody, except the women, obviously. But, like...
do women matter?
Do we really care what they think? I love America. Anyway, on the more literary end of things, the spy novel was also huge at this time, similar to the spy movie. The 1950s saw The Spy Who Loved Me, a James Bond novel fighting Smersh, S-M-E-R-S-H.
Smersh?
A Soviet counter-spy named Smersh.
Smersh.
And I feel like it's an acronym, because it was all capital letters.
Oh.
I don't know what it stands for.
It's a stupid acronym.
Soviet Mothers...
Under...
It's an E. Soviet Mothers Entertain...
Right?
I lost it. I lost the thread.
We were doing good music.
Oh my. Anyway. As well as Jean Le Carre's The Spy Who Came from the Cold, which was set in East Germany, which was obviously the communist side of Germany. Mm-hmm. The 1950s and 60s also saw the popularization of pulp fiction novels about the Cold War. Fun fact.
Yes?
Not related at all. Pulp fiction comes from the low-quality rough paper manufactured from wood pulp that these novels would be printed on.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
It is
interesting.
interesting.
Comes from. Yeah. Some of these novels included Purgatory of the Conquered, which sounds like a metal band.
It really does. We are Purgatory of the Conquered.
Yeah. Showing another story of America taken over by communist forces, as well as a more vulgar one titled Red Rape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Describing Soviet plans to enslave Western women for sexual exploitation.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty kind of insane.
Yeah. It's a little unhinged.
A little unhinged, if you will.
Of the American government.
Yeah, and I mean, and granted, again, this wasn't necessarily the government, but people were doing the work for them. Like, true. Like there was, and again, a lot of it came from like if you made anything criticizing the government, you were going to be blacklisted for being a communist, right? Like, so you kind of just had to like accept the norms if you wanted to like work in the industry. Mm-hmm. And also, then the people who were fed that propaganda then grow up to make more propaganda because that's what they believe, right? It's the cycle of propaganda.
The circle of life.
Exactly. The circle of life, but it's shittier, and I hate it. And it's not a fire song in The Lion King.
No.
Anyway, Moonshine's cute. One positive thing that came out of the Soviet Union and America pissing contest was both countries wanted to prove that they were better at art, or like at the arts. This led to higher funding for art programs in both countries.
Wow.
One insane story is of a Rudolf Nureyev.
Okay.
Nureyev. I don't know. It's Russian.
Russian names.
Who in 1961 defected from the Soviet Union to the West to perform with Britain's Royal Ballet. Another side note, why is everything in Britain got to be like the royal something?
Yeah, right? I know.
It's like, can't it just be a normal thing?
Yeah. Like,
can't it just be like Britain's ballet company?
Exactly.
Like the Royal Ballet.
There's not
fuck off.
The fucking queen isn't dancing around in a tutu.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do they dance? I mean, maybe they dance for the queen, but it's like, are they exclusively for the queen?
Yeah.
Then no, they're probably not
Yeah.
it's not royal then.
Like,
I mean, also,
we get it,
the queen
England.
isn't even royal. They don't she doesn't even do anything.
No, she's literally on her fucking deathbed.
Yeah, true. Me good when she dies.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not good, but I'm not going to cry about it.
No, I won't be sad.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I've read a lot of things where it's like people are like there'll be some people who defend the queen and they're like the royal family has all of this land and like they have all of these things on this land, so like they have a big part in the economy. And then other people will be like, if like the royal family isn't the royal family, we can take the land from them.
Like
we don't have to give them the land. Like
they're just like the highest level, the final boss landlord.
Exactly. Like we can take it from them.
Yeah.
And we probably should, because we don't have. They got all that land when they were oppressive. When they were an oppressive monarch.
Why did they? You don't need that shit.
Yeah.
Turn the fucking castle into a house for people, a place for people to live that need a place to live.
Yeah. No, I mean
shelter.
Is like a homeless shelter.
That's the word.
That's the word. But yeah. Anyway, Khrushchev, the leader of the Soviet Union, signed a death warrant for Nureyev if he ever returned back to Russia because of his defection.
Wow.
That's how serious the pissing contest between America and the Soviet Union was.
Yeah.
The 1980s saw a revival in Cold War propaganda with films like Red Dawn and Rocky IV, which in Rocky IV, I'm pretty sure he like fights the like Soviet guy. So like athletics were a big thing too.
Mm-hmm. That's stupid.
Stupid. But yeah, it's all the same fear-mongering techniques used in the 60s, but now with better camera equipment.
Yeah.
Other notable forms of art propaganda were the 1951 Children's Crusade Against Communism bubblegum cards, which I lost my mind over. Okay.
What?
A variety of cards found in bubblegum packs warning kids of the dangers of communism. Let me read you one right now.
Oh my fucking god, I can't wait.
Yeah, let me pull this up.
It's like the lengths that... Oh my god. And the thing that's so funny to me too is that it's like the lengths that people are willing to go to like brainwash their children to be like anti-communist or now like pro-America or whatever, and then it's like, but the gays are shoving whatever down our throats, and it's like, you literally made a line of bubble gum that was anti-communist for your 5-year-old.
It's true.
Like, get a fucking grip, baby.
So here's what it looks like. We'll post this on the Insta.
All right.
I'm going to read this to you. Keep in mind, this is coming from the country that was blacklisting people for associating with communists. Mm-hmm. Here's what it says. Why is this Russian family being arrested? Perhaps the radio is a clue. These people may have been listening to The Voice of America. The Voice, is a radio program in which our State Department tells the truth about the free world. The red leaders do not want the Russian people to learn what real freedom is like. They might ask it for themselves. But who reported that this family tuned in to The Voice? Perhaps someone they thought was a friend? Who can tell who may be a spy for the secret police? And then it says, fight the red menace on the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, insane.
Wow.
Absolutely unhinged
Is that
behavior.
not what you're exactly doing, America?
Exactly. Like, they were literally blacklisting people for associating with communists.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Oh, my God.
Again, the Soviet Union and America were doing the same fucking
Exactly.
shit to each other. And, like, it's so stupid. Anyway. As well as print articles from the time feeding the fear and paranoia of imminent attack from the Soviet Union. Many of these articles would contain testimonials from former citizens of communist countries. So pretty much America and the Soviet Union both suck.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there is an equal amount of like Soviet propaganda against America.
For sure.
This was specifically talking about American propaganda.
Yep.
And I think it's funny to point out how we literally did the same exact things.
Yeah, it's so hypocritical. Well, and it's like interesting too, thinking about like the propaganda. Like I think us looking back at propaganda, from like that era, you know, earlier eras is like it seems extremely obvious to us. And we're gonna look back on like our time now and be like, "What the fuck?" Like, I think like superhero movies is a huge example of that. Like how pro military propaganda they are, and pro America as well. I mean, fucking Captain America. Like,
his name is Captain America. Yeah. And I don't know. I think propaganda is funny because, and it's funny specifically in America because we have like this whole idea of like free speech and free thinking that like we're all about, like, oh, we're the free thinkers of the world, and it's like
China would never let you.
Exactly. But it's like it's the same thing. Like, I mean, I guess, you know, at this point in history we're not being murdered for having leftist beliefs, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's some American propaganda for you.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the thing is, too, is that there is, like, literally still anti-communist propaganda to this day, like, in our new media. Literally, you know, Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
And then they made that new, like, Girl Meets World show. There was, like, a whole bit in it that was, like, this anti-communist thing where, like, the kids had to do this school project about, like, different government systems or something. And so the one group chooses communism, and at the end they're, like, all dressed the same and saying the exact same thing. And so then, like, the teacher gives them all, like, a shared grade, so they get, like, a low grade or something. And they're like, that's not fair. And he's like, well, that's what communism is. And he's like, they're like, we're sorry, we'll never do communism again. It's like so insane.
Gee willikers, I learned my lesson.
It was like literally so up. I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
I hate it. Anyway. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, even just with the whole idea, like, because, you know, there's a bunch of Q people who are, like, consistently talking about wanting to murder communists, you know? It's like, even though they don't know what communism really is, like, people think Joe Biden is a communist.
Oh,
and
my
it's
God.
Like, I don't want to be associated with Joe Biden.
Absolutely not. The man is literally a fascist. So.
Yeah, literally. Like, as capitalist as they come. Fresh off the printers, capitalist there. But yeah, that's all I got. Got any ending thoughts? Any comments, questions, conundrums?
Vietnam
concerns?
War bad, capitalism bad, communism good?
Question mark. Soviet Union bad, but
yes,
communism
good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Moonshine, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that was the most profound.
That was really good.
Part of the whole episode, actually.
Why don't you talk more on the podcast?
I know. She literally is yelling the whole time until we start recording. She's like,
true, yeah. Like, she's like screaming at Phoebe to pet her, and then the minute we start recording, she's like,
I'm like, Moonshine, say something.
She gets nervous.
She acts like she can't talk.
Are you nervous?
Oh, she's just a little microphone shy.
True. Anyway, plug skis,
plug-a-roonies, Plugtown,
Pizzlies.
Drove my Chevy to the levee, and the levee was plug.
Too good.
Oh my God. Well, if you would like to look at these pictures that we were talking about, the little bubblegum card that Taylor just mentioned, I'll post a little picture of Marvin Gaye. Check out our Instagram, which is @RemarksPodcast, and our TikTok, which is the same name, @RemarksPodcast. There's all of 3 TikToks up.
Yeah. They're good. They're a good 3 TikToks.
That's
true.
You'll
have a good time while watching them.
Absolutely.
We also have a Twitter account. It is @RemarksPod. I run the Twitter, so you can talk to me instead of Phoebe. And then also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please. And you can check out my YouTube channel called The Lefty Agenda.
Yeah. And also, ding, 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 subscribe to our Patreon.
Oh, the Patreon?
The Patrizlies?
The Patrizlers? Yeah, we just launched our Patreon. We're going to be doing some bonus eps over there. As well as the segment we're going to move into in just a second, where we give you a little shout-out skis for being a Patreon.
Yeah, we have 1 bonus episode up thus far, and I personally will say I was cracking up.
It's so funny. It
was really funny.
I'm not going to give anything away, but it is fan fiction.
So you're going to want to check that out.
You don't want to chisley that owizily.
It's $5 a month, which is, I think, somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, and I mean, and you don't have to like necessarily be like a monthly.
No.
You know, like if you don't have $5 one month,
Do your fucking
cancel
thing.
it.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't even subscribe at all if you don't want to. But like,
you don't have extra.
it would be
income?
cool a lot if you did.
If you want to support the podcast, please do. But
would be
if
awesome.
it's gonna be stressful, don't worry about
No.
it. You're good.
But we'll have a lot of fun shit. We'll make it worth your time and
Exactly.
money. So
We still love you.
we love you no matter
regardless. It's unconditional.
what. Mom and Dad are here. We love you.
We love you, and we support you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, moving into our
Yes.
Patreon shout out here.
Second, Plisley,
We have one
subscriber whose name is Justin. Thank you so much, Justin. We love you.
Love you.
Loving the vibes with you.
And he commented on our episode, our
Yes.
bonus episode about fan fiction, and said it was very funny.
He did. So thank you for that.
We love you. But yeah, come become a patron, and
Yeah. Check out our
Pretty sure
very fun bonus content we'll have.
everybody will think you're a really cool guy, and
No,
that you're
it's
like
true.
super funny and sexy,
Yeah.
and like you're gonna be the life of the party if you
Yeah,
do
like
that.
if you're at a party and you want to like flirt with somebody, you can be like, hey, like, so, you know, I am a patron of Remarks, and that person is going to sprawl you across the table at that moment.
Exactly, yeah.
Guaranteed. So,
Like,
you know, do what you have to do.
true. Yeah, I know our podcast, men and women alike, really, it instantly, like, turns them on, makes them
Yeah.
aroused, and makes them sopping wet.
And it's, you know, it's our sexiness really just morphs into yours as well.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel, because you can, like, I know we're not dead, but you can channel us
Exactly.
when you're
yeah.
a patron. That's actually one of the features.
No, it is. Similar to Mother God with Robin Williams.
Exactly, yeah. You can, like, take our spirits
Yes.
into you, and
you get really sexy all of a
you
sudden.
get really sexy. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's true.
you know, so, I mean,
Lots to think
could be
about.
missing out on some
Lots
fun
to think
stuff.
about.
Okay, well, thanks for listening.
Okay,
Love you. Bye.